Hello world. Alright, so that's good. Jason photo. Yeah, so hey love, Manon? Manon, can you help me? Can you bring me your laptop and the charger? The small one. Yeah. So I can read the questions of it. So I can check the questions from it. No. Sorry. Your brand laptop? No. Why? You need to use this to work. So I just need something to use. You gonna work with my laptop? Huh? No, wait, you can use my laptop. The reason why I gave it to you, so well, if you guys are wondering what the hell is going on, you are wondering correctly, because I am very organized instead of the streams. However, we are early. So I'm allowed to do stuff like this. Right? Is that how it works? Cool. Send friend request. Right, now we gotta wait. Now we gotta wait for Jay. So
How's it going, man?
oh shit, hey man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Nice. I do need to boost you though because say something?
Is that okay?
Man, I feel like if I'm gonna be doing any shooting, I will not hear you. Just give me a sec. Manon, can you check on your phone if you can hear Jay? Can you check on your phone if you can hear Jay? I just need to boost it just a little bit.
Yeah, that's not a problem, mate.
Man, thanks for coming to this.
Nah, it's cool. Like, I'll be honest. Most video games are not the choice for me. I can do sports sims, and that's about it. But it looks fun. So, you know, you've been doing some interesting topics. So, you know, want to give it a go?
Man, the most important thing of it is the talking, not the damn game itself. I always lose in mine. Right, I need to add you in game.
I'm gonna put my stall out early on the stream and be like, I absolutely suck. Please don't judge me.
That's fine. To be fair, they won't be able to see what you're doing. They'll be able to see what I'm doing. Can you hear what? So you can barely hear me. You have an account, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the. I've got Warzone up at the moment. I'm just waiting.
Okay, cool.
Get...
Hi, friends. So your Activision account
is it'll be the same email, or if you can't do that, it will be I've got the number or the gamer tag which I sent you the other day, the Rogue Snowman one.
Okay, cool. Let's just failed. Why did I fail? Is it together, man, or is it separate?
It's Rogue with a space and then Snowman, all caps, and the O's are the number 0.
Okay.
I just sent you a picture of it as well.
Yeah.
On Facebook.
Okay, let's just double check. Can I just do it with a number? It is a number. Yeah, because you have crossplay now. You failed. Right. Oh wait. Should I be looking for your? So is the Rogue Snowman your Xbox username?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's why it's not liking it. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was looking at for an Activision account.
Oh, okay. No, I reckon if you look for the gamer tag, that'll work.
Yeah, let's try that. Hey, request sent.
Yeah, friend request
Cool.
accepted. That's
Nice.
good.
Right. Manuel, can you check if you can hear? Okay. Yeah, if you guys are in the chat, please say if it's quiet or loud or whatever. Alright, so you've seen some of the questions since then. So is it because we're quiet or because the game's loud? Quiet. Okay. Wow, streaming is fun, isn't it? Okay, so audio mixer. What if I bring this up and yeah, and then I'll just bring the game audio lower. That way you can actually hear you, but you don't need to hear the loud noises as much.
Sure.
Cool.
Well,
oh jeez, man, it's so warm.
it is. Yeah, I'm not built for weather. I'm built for the cold and the rain of Quidditch, not the heat and the sun.
Yeah. My voice is too low. Okay, so what if I do this? So the most important thing is that you hear me. You don't need to hear Jay. Yeah?
People are tired of hearing me. That's the problem.
For both of us. Even if I speak like very close to the mic. Man, I tested it before. It was fine. God damn it. Yeah, I would suggest people wear earphones for this. If it's too quiet, well, at least I'll make a silent movie at this rate. Right. Is it not? Okay. Well, I guess we'll try. Alright, do you want to start now or do you want to wait for a little bit?
I'm good whenever. I'm good to go whenever, mate.
Okay. So, how much have you played, be honest?
I have played 3 games. Are you talking about, is this Quidditch or Warzone? Because
Warzone, mate. We're not here to talk about Quidditch.
2 is fucking enormous. So, Warzone, I've played 3 games. I played one team deathmatch.
Yeah.
Went very badly. I played one solo, which also went badly, and then another solo, which lasted a long time. But I think mainly that's because I was in the space no one else was. So basically a professional at this point. The way that I look at it. But yeah, I'm not expecting to wow anyone with my gaming skills anytime soon.
Yeah, but don't forget, man. No one's gonna see. Oh, no one's gonna really see your stuff. So you have the benefit of the doubt. They're gonna see me mess up constantly.
That is true. They'll see my stats at the bottom where.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yet again, by some 14-year-old in America. So,
I mean, to be fair, if you spend as much time as some people do, man, you would be good.
Exactly. I knew I should have dedicated my life to Call of Duty and not Quidditch, but it's all good in hindsight.
Yeah, true. Hey, what's more important in life, Quidditch or Call of Duty?
I mean, that's the million pound question. They've got their sponsored Twitch leagues where you can win loads of money, and I suppose I can win a nice plastic trophy. So it's like for life, really. But we will.
Oh man. Oh well. To be fair, if you win Quidditch, we don't get that much money, do we?
No.
Yeah.
No. Exactly. I suppose that's one way of looking at it.
Right. I think it'll be, I guess, time for us to start because I mean, 15 people are watching. That's not too bad.
Let's go for it.
Right. So, hello everyone. Today we're doing a Gameside chat, as you could probably tell, and I have Jay Holmes with me, and we're live, and we're gonna do and mess about with this game.
As you could probably tell.
So thanks for coming, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here. Happy to, share my opinions yet again. Happy to humiliate myself at video games. All for the community. All for the good of the community.
Yeah, that's the most important stuff. So you look cooler than me already. What's going on?
That is literally the first thing you unlocked. I honestly spent maybe 20 minutes yesterday just looking at the menus of this game, trying to understand what it all meant.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a low point. But I'm hoping for one kill and lots of talk about maybe Quidditch. That's the aim for this one. And obviously some lovely questions in the
sent in from people, yeah.
Exactly. I've seen some of the spicier ones that have been sent in already, so I'm looking forward to answering those.
I mean, to be fair, they do seem quite nice, man.
Okay. Well, give it time. Give it time.
What, do you reckon it's going to get bad?
I reckon some of VQC are watching, and they're probably going to chuck some edgier questions in. But we will see. I know James is watching, and I know James is definitely going to put some slander in the chat. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, as long as it's respectable and it's kind of, not just making fun of you and you can actually answer, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll work it through.
Oh wow. People are saying you are very quiet, which is funny, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, it makes a change. Is that better?
I don't know. People have to say in the chat. Well, I guess since I already seen one question in the chat, someone just asked, "How was the rest of your afternoon?"
It was fine, working as a teacher. I finished work, did some more work, went home, ate dinner, and now I'm doing this. Sadly, my real life is not quite the raw journey that I'd hope it would be sometimes. we make do.
Hey, at least this is something to spice up your evening, huh?
Exactly. I've just got a message saying that my volume is fine. So.
Oh, what?
Who knows what's going on?
Okay, some people are saying you're quiet. Some people. Is it just because I'm loud? I'm loud? Okay, well, okay. I mean, I'll make this into a video later. If people can't hear Jay, then I don't think I can up it anymore without killing everyone.
If you reverse that, can you up both of them at the same? Because you're almost like saturated with
am I just too loud?
Well, your volume is fine. You're saturated. I don't.
All right. Okay, well, bring the mic down. Okay, cool. I think we should just start, mate.
Yeah, go for
Yeah.
it.
You're very loud in my earphones, so that's the most important thing.
Yeah, works for me.
Cool. So the first question is the easiest one, and it's going to be the easiest one of the day.
Lovely.
And it's just going to get worse from now on. So,
Good.
how many teams have you played for in your whole life as a Quidditch player, and which one was your favorite and why?
So for competitive games, I played for Bang University, I played for Velociraptors, I've played for Monarchs, and I've played for Mermaids, as well as doing, all the Merc tournaments under the sun. I really enjoy playing with Raptors, but I think some of the most fun I had when I was playing was definitely in my captaincy year of Banger, because I learned so much about myself as a player and as a leader, and just sort of what I could do. It was the first time that I'd really got the chance to be a true captain and a true leader in a sport, which was really, really exciting. And that team was just a lot of fun. Like, we didn't lose loads, but we didn't win loads either. And our culture as a team was great fun. We'd have some of the best times I've had off the pitch as well. So I think Banger in my captaincy year, sort of ending my uni career, was some of the most fun I've had being part of the team.
All right. So that's gonna be a final answer. So you're not gonna say Raptors, huh? Are you gonna disappoint some of your friends or not?
I mean, I love playing for Raptors. Like, I'm returning to captain them for a third time.
All right.
Playing with them, but I think there's a difference. Like, I've enjoyed Raptors the most, but the most fun I've had was captaining Banger.
That's fair. Give me a second. What? Take off the sound of the game. What if like this? I need to hear when people are shooting at me. Right, Jay, where the hell are you? Oh, I found you.
I've run off to go on the beat of my own drum.
All right, that's fine. So, I was gonna ask you a question about. So, did you enjoy playing for a uni team more, or did you enjoy playing for, I guess, more of a community?
Community team is when it was tricky. My first year of Raptors, I didn't enjoy it in whole. I definitely, when I compare my last year of university to my first year of Raptors, it was the time at university all over. But once I'd sort of settled into what Raptors was and got on with the culture and just got a lot better as a player, I really, really enjoyed playing for Raptors. And I think now Raptors is definitely what I'm sort of looking for from my Quidditch playing. I think it was just very different at uni. Like, uni was a lot more, none of us really know what's going on, let's see what happens. Whereas Raptors is sort of, we've all got a goal, let's see if we can do anything to make it happen.
Okay.
So they were both super rewarding, just in very different ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard. I see them as really different experiences, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I think maybe some community teams have more of that uni feel, but Raptors certainly felt like a step up in taking it more seriously, which was what I was looking for after uni.
Okay. So, like, so the most important stuff you enjoy from Raptors, is it the winning, or is it the fact that you get to play with, like, quote unquote, the best of the best?
So I know I love winning.
I mean, who doesn't, right?
That's exactly the argument I make. No one enjoys losing. No one's ever choosing losing over winning. But the thing for me is I get to be in a team that has amazing players, but also they're now amazing friends. And that's what I'm looking for at the end of the day. If I was on a team with people that I couldn't stand, I would hate playing.
Okay.
I've had it in maybe Merc events where you've got an amazing team but you don't really gel, and that's really unfortunate. So I joined Raptors really with the aim of being the best version of myself. That's what I was looking to do.
Okay.
And I've got some of my best friends out of it. It pains me to say it, but so myself and James Garden, the Raptors coach, coached Team UK. We really didn't get on when we first met. We clashed a load, but over time, now that we know each other a bit better, he's one of my closest friends. Like I'm best man at his wedding.
Okay.
That's sort of. It was a journey, but the friends I've made from Raptors are super close. Like, I class all of Raptors as my friend. Whereas from the youth days, obviously they're still close, but I don't speak to as many of them.
Okay.
So the winning's great, but winning with people that you admire, people that you enjoy the company of, that's really what I'm about, to be honest.
Fair. So if you had to pick, let's say, like, staying with Raptors, or they're suddenly and magically, like, a team that's much better and they, like, start to just destroy you guys, would you rather stay with Raptors and, like, maybe not win as much? Or, like, would you rather, go for that top team?
At this point, so I would hate to leave a team. I'd hate to abandon a team just because my team wasn't winning. I think that is the sort of the coward's way out of things.
Yeah.
I think if a new team came up and lots of my friends left Raptors, that's a different discussion.
Okay.
Personally, because at the end of the day, I want to play with people that I'm friends with, people that I'm close with. But say loads of Americans came over and started a team, I'm not going to suddenly just say to Raptors, sorry, I'm going to go, glory hunt on this other one.
That's fine.
I'm Raptors, and they're who I want to stick with for the foreseeable future, as long as money and time allow it.
Okay.
But if any Americans do want to come over and start a team, you can negotiate with my agent, and we can go from there.
So how much money are you asking for?
I don't know. I reckon I'm worth about. Oh, it's a tough one. 30 mil at this point. What do you reckon?
That's not too bad, huh? I mean, you are getting a bit old, mate. So.
I need that last contract to see my family off.
Yeah, that's true.
But that is, I think it's really hard to leave a team that you've been at for such a long time.
Fair.
I think you've got a lot of community players with like Unspeakables, Werewolves, LQD. It's hard to leave those teams without like a life-changing reason. It's why people travel so much to play. Like I live near London, and I'll still spend the time and money to travel to play with Raptors because that's where I want to be, basically.
All right. Okay, that's just for me personally. So like, I guess how often do you guys have trainings, and like how where is it typically? Is it like in a typical special place? Is it like in a?
Yes.
Yeah. Go on.
Our training location is Leicester, so we'll train it, and we try and train once a month, with the sort of proviso that people do their own training outside. So a lot of us play other sports. A lot of people are into keeping fit. So there is sort of that expectation that people are doing their own work outside of training to get themselves better.
Okay.
And we find that does work for people. But I appreciate as much as anyone that the whole only training once can really put people off for joining. Because people can feel that if they miss a training, then they're missing out. But we try and do as much as we can so that people can catch up. Like we try and do lots of posts, lots of updates. We try and socialise and spend a lot of time with each other, both in person and chatting online, to make sure that no one's out of the loop.
Okay. Yeah, Fraser says Leicester is a special place.
I mean, that is the training space. But we've always said if suddenly 20 members lived in somewhere else, we'd look at what was the best location for the club. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're all about. The club has to come first. No one's more important than the club. No one's bigger than the club. And we're always basically trying to facilitate Raptors being as successful as it can. So if we needed to move, we'd move. But so far, everyone likes Leicester. Yeah, the Airbnbs are very reasonable. So there's not much to moan about.
All right, fair. So I was going to ask you as well. I guess how important are like good facilities for like the quality of a team? Like, does it matter, or do you
In
reckon?
terms of
In terms of
or-
Quidditch, yeah.
So for me, it depends on the time of year. A theory that I've always had, which I think is correct, is the reason that the North plays a more drive-heavy style of Quidditch is because that's what the weather in the North is like. It's usually that bit less pleasant, and the South has more facilities maybe available and can play a more fancy passy style of Quidditch. But I do think facilities are important. But at the end of the day, if the turf is good, there's not really much of an excuse. The thing for me, I don't really mind what I'm playing on. I just need the ball to be okay. I think not having a good ball can win or lose you the game.
Yeah.
I don't think you need, the flashy 3G. You don't need the stadium. You basically need decent turf to play on, a toilet, and maybe somewhere to get pitched. Like Quidditch players seem to have this affinity for thinking that 3G is the best and only way to play sport. And I think as long as you've got a decent bit of grass, then the game is just as good.
Okay.
Personally.
I mean, to be fair, I've been spoiled by Korea, where basically shit, I died. Basically, like any time you play a sport, you would be in perfect conditions. Like so, I think we do miss that as I guess, as a country, because that'd be nice. I feel like that's what a lot of I think that's what we lack. I don't know if you've played in America, or have you? Like, do you reckon they have better pitches and stuff?
I think so. America's obviously, like, the sports culture in America is part of the reason they're so dominant at most of the sports they lend themselves to. But I do think that, having the American football style pitches definitely lends itself to having better facilities to train on and be on. And I think that can only help. Like, you look at some of the tournaments America's having, the facilities are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it definitely lends itself to a good style of Quidditch. I don't know necessarily if it lends itself to a better style of Quidditch.
Yeah.
Like,
you can play all the tiki-taka you want, but if the ball's not going forward.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly it, I reckon if you give Messi an orange, he's still going to be pretty good at kicking it. So it doesn't unless it's more ability of the player.
So what if we give you an orange? Will you still be good? Or are you
I reckon I could chuck an orange pretty easy. It's a lot harder to fake shot with an orange because it's so small, and that is about 80% of my career at this point is pretending to throw the ball. So I'd have to work with the orange.
Fair. Hey, we won. But to be fair, we haven't played together. It was just kind of like us on the same team doing stuff.
That is the best game I've ever had. By far.
So
the flute is over.
Yeah, guys, if you have any comments or questions, just ask. Like, I know people have sent me questions, but like, don't be afraid to just chat or interact. So man, since yesterday, you had 20 more questions come in. I don't know if we'll have time to answer them all. It's crazy.
Okay. If there's quick ones, we can try and rattle them off. But I'll try my best.
I mean, no. To be fair, some of them are repeating. Someone asked, "Where do you come from?" twice. So, do you want to answer that?
Yeah. So I was born in Ealing, in London. That's where I'm from. That's why I have such a strange accent.
Okay, that was quick. What was the worst night out you've been on?
Oh, there are no bad nights out, just bad stories. That's how I try to look at it. The worst night out I've been on. So there was, I think it was Mercian Cup. I went to the social, and it was me, Aaron Veal, Tom Norton. So we went to the social, and it was all right. Not many people sort of knew us to talk to us, so we were sitting in the corner, just sort of doing our own thing. Had a pretty good night. Promised our host that we'd be back, no later than midnight. We're good boys. We got to play tomorrow. 3 o'clock turns up. We're still out. So we ended up sleeping in Tom Norton's car, waking up about 3 hours later because it was so cold and knocking on our host's door. And that's definitely some of the roughest I've felt on a night out. Like all the hangovers in the world, all the drunkenness in the world. When you are sitting in a car sleeping, that's what.
Yeah, but in the sense, man, that's kind of Quidditch life, isn't it? That's all you do. That's how tournaments are for you.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
go somewhere with like a meh Airbnb and then kind of hope that you get at least some sleep and it doesn't affect you that much.
I'm all about the nice Airbnb, mate. I stay with James quite a lot, and he's an absolute prince when it comes to his Airbnbs. If it's not a perfect pillow and a nice duvet, then he can't cope. So I'm pretty used to staying. I always think it's better to spend the extra 10, 20 quid and get a good night's sleep, because then you're going to play better the next day. But for Merc tournaments, I'll sleep in a bush. You know, Merc tournaments are a different animal, aren't they? So
yeah. All right, fair. Yeah, so talking about tournaments, I guess, what was your, well, let's go with what's your favorite one you've been to, and what's the worst one you've been to? So it could be a fantasy one, it could be like a proper one, like...
Well, that's favourite tournament's a tough one. I've always quite enjoyed the early Valentine's Cups. So I think when I went to Valentine's Cup 2 or 3 or one of them, that was a load of fun. Like genuinely, so big, great atmosphere watching the games, loads of your friends there, loads of good games to watch, and that was really exciting. Like that was really fun. The worst tournament is a difficult one. The worst I felt at a tournament is also one of the tournaments I've been the most successful at.
All right.
EQC, my captaincy year of Raptors, we came 4th against Unicorns with 30 seconds left on the clock and a goal up. And I was convinced within that 30 seconds that, you know, we were going to take that bronze medal, and I was going to finally cement myself as, you know, not just a guy who was lucky, but a guy who actually knew what he was doing, was a decent captain, a decent leader. And then when they caught the snitch with 30 seconds left, it just absolutely, it destroyed me. Like, absolutely, really, really got to me. Some of, without getting too deep, like within sport, some of the lowest I've felt. And that was hard. Like, that took me a long time to get over, because we'd done so much. Like, we had a squad of 15. In the last game, everyone was carrying injuries, and we were still plowing on. And I really believed that was the year that we were going to get the medal. And to lose like that was just, that hurt quite a lot. And so that's some of the worst I've felt at a tournament.
Okay, fair. I mean, to be fair, man, like, tournaments are, especially for if you care so much about the winning aspect. Like, for me, like, I cannot go into a tournament thinking that, oh, well, it's fine if I don't win. Like, no, like, I may know that, you know, we have no chance to beat people.
But you've got to try, haven't you?
Yeah, obviously,
like, That's exactly what it's about. Like, when I'm all for people, you know, some people might think, well, you know, we aren't all about winning, but people still want to win at the end of the day. Turns up to a tournament wanting to lose. But yeah, I think it's hard as well. You know, if you're used to a winning culture, to lose like that just absolutely caned me.
Yeah, true.
But that's you know, that's how it is. You can moan or you can do something about it. I'm a huge advocate of doing something about it.
Okay, yeah, fair. So I guess since you mentioned EQC, there's one question that someone asked is why haven't we had an EQC winner from the UK in the last 5 years?
I think that's a really tough question. I think what a lot of people forget is only one person gets to win EQC, and a lot of them are very good. I think the UK Quidditch sort of has a lot of good teams, and we don't appreciate how lucky we are when people are like, oh, there's only, you know, 8 fantastic teams. That's still a lot more than other countries, and a lot of countries don't have as many teams as us. So a lot of good players end up gravitating towards the same teams in some countries. So in France, if you want to play top level, you go to Titan. I think you can argue people's dedication to the game. You know, Titans, what they lack, they are bigger, faster, stronger. Dodos, you know, they train together an inhuman amount, and they are, you know, they take it seriously. They work out together, and they try and make something happen. And I think maybe that has a reason. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the draw, and it comes to who wins on the day. Like, you get one chance to win your game. It's basically immediate playoffs, and that's tough for any competition.
No,
but
I mean, definitely, yeah.
in Quidditch, when there's so many variables, like the snitch is a variable. It's what you either live or die by. It does turn into, you know, who's feeling it, and if you're not the one feeling it, then you're going to lose out. But I do think UK is getting better and better each year, and I think next year, hopefully, if the season ever happens, we'll see a British team on the podium.
Fair. Well, Olympians have formed, so we've got you covered. Don't worry.
Exactly. You know, that's who I'm putting my money on.
No, but seriously, if you did have to pick, like, I guess since we only can pick from the rosters now, if you did have to pick a team that's like right now would be ready to win it, what would it be? And obviously, you can't name Raptors because that would be biased.
I do think, like, depending on who they retain, Werewolves and LQC do have a really good chance. Like, their first lines are world class, and that's what you're looking for. But it does come down to, honestly, you know, which games you win on the day and who you're matched up against. We saw LQC go out to Bonn and come, you know, like 17th or 16th or whatever it was.
Okay.
And that's going to make a difference, you know, that's going to hurt you. And with transfers happening, you never know. Like, LQC might turn up next year with exactly the same squad, or half of them might quit. And I like that EQC. You know, you don't get many chances to play internationally, and film's all well and good, but basically how you see them play on the day is how you can make your judgment. And I think that's pretty fun.
Okay.
As a coach and leader.
All right. So let's go on a bit of a tangent and talk about some of the community team aspect of it. So someone also asked, like, do you think the rise of community teams is having a negative impact on the quality of coaching for uni teams? And, like, if so, what do you think can be done about it?
So people seem to have this romanticized opinion that if community teams didn't exist, then all of those old players would flock and help uni teams, and they wouldn't. A lot of them would stop. I agree. Some would go and help their uni teams out, but I don't think it's coaches' fault that they've become good coaches. And it doesn't happen, you know, overnight. It wasn't suddenly, oh, I've left uni, look at me, I'm a world-class coach all of a sudden. It's through hard work, it's through that community environment. I think if community teams cease to exist, say tomorrow, coaching isn't going to suddenly dramatically improve. There are lots of opportunities to get better if you want to. Like, there's loads of videos online, loads of sources. At tournaments, you can go to people, ask for advice. At DevCup, there's coaching workshops. And I think maybe coaching needs more development. But I know, you know, back to hoops, level up. There's loads of stuff there to help people. And I think it's naive to think that because the big bad community teams have turned up, that they're hoarding all of the good coaches. You know, it comes down to who you think's a good coach at the end of the day. Who I think's a good coach is gonna differ massively to who a uni player thinks is a good coach. And it depends if we're trying to develop world-class coaches. Obviously, there's not going to be loads of those, or just people that can run a session. In which case, you know, there's a lot of resources out there for sport, let alone Quidditch, that can help people get better at that. They just need to be a bit more proactive with it.
But do you reckon we have a bit of a, I guess, responsibility to do and actually help out some of the teams, like, in any form? Like, if you had to maybe say, like, oh, we need to help them, like, what would you suggest we try and do?
So, not the way this sounds. Responsibility? Absolutely not.
Okay.
You can choose to do it, and people should be encouraged to do it. They really should be encouraged to do it. But it's not down for someone. It's not the average Tom player's fault that uni teams aren't as good. You know? A good example, like Steve Withers on Raptors, great player, great guy. It's not his responsibility. He shouldn't have to go out of his way and coach Loughborough. He might do it because he wants to, and he wants them to improve, and that's great. But I think as soon as you start blaming older players for the university shortcomings, you're sort of disguising the problems. I mean, it would be great if all community players felt like they should help out, and I know Olympians do loads, Raptors try and do as much as we can, and I think it's great to help out, but I think, you know, it's down to also players to search out the help as well, search out the coaches, search out the advice. But I think once you get into a world where you're forcing comm players to help, coaching isn't going to improve, because you're going to end up forcing a bad coach to try and coach a uni team. And bad coaching is as worthwhile as no coaching at all, I think.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I get what you're saying. Like, obviously especially once by the time you join community, you've had the experience and stuff. You're most likely, since you've been around for long, you already have a job, most likely. So you don't have the, whatever hours. But I still think, like, especially now that, yeah, we have done this and we have kind of, because like especially what Fraser just said, the best coaches in the game got there without the resources. Yes, but at the same time, it happened at the same time when, like, there were a lot of other Quidditch teams. So now, like, it kind of feels like it's slowly starting to die out. And I feel like if we don't do anything about it, like, Quidditch will die, especially in the UK. Maybe not in the US, but...
Do you mean Quidditch will die or the standard will get lower? Because I think a lot of people, not have, but a lot of people struggle with this differentiation. When some people mean Quidditch will die, they just mean people will be a lot worse at it. And would we prefer a game where everyone was a lot worse with more players? Or would we prefer a game with less teams but a higher standard? Because if we want Quidditch to grow, it's got to be a lower standard with more teams. You know, Quidditch is still in its infancy. And I appreciate the whole coaches got there when there were more teams. There really weren't. There's, 35 teams in the UK at the moment. When I was learning to coach, there weren't drastically more than that. Sometimes there was less. I think the best coaches have searched out to develop themselves. You know, they read books on coaching, they watch videos, they go to tournaments where their team isn't playing. The resources are there for you if you want them. And I do appreciate community teams do need to do something, you know. We should help. And we should, help the community thrive, and we should help the sport thrive. But I don't think anyone should be forced to. You know, at the end of the day, I'm a teacher. Most of my free time does go on Quidditch. But a lot of other community players who have real, actual, meaningful jobs don't have the time or money to spare. If there's a university team well up north that wants my help, great, and I'll certainly give it to them. But should I be expected to do that at the detriment of, 200 quid to me?
No, but I don't think I didn't. Well, I don't know if people meant it like that, or I certainly don't. But I don't mean like you personally have to. I just mean like.
Oh, I'm just getting the dialogue going, man.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, to be fair, yeah, I do get it, because there's been a lot of sessions, even with Olympians, like where a lot of us couldn't make it, and it was just down to either Sam or someone else. Just they could do it. They could afford to go. They could afford to spend a bit of time. And I don't just mean like, everyone has to do it. Everyone's responsible for it. Like, yeah, obviously not, because, you have your own life.
And the other thing is, people have got to use the resources when they're there. So, like, I go to everything out to help to coach. Like, I will put my pitch and say I do a lot. But at Dev Cup, I'd run coaching sessions, and not to toot my own horn, but I'm going to. Like, I'm a pretty good coach, I know what I'm talking about. But some of those coaching sessions are empty. And even if it was someone was like, oh, I'm too tired to play, but do you mind if we just have a chat and watch? People have to sort out being better.
Okay.
I think that's quite key as well. You've got to use the resources when they're there. I think it's easy to moan on both sides, but you have to be proactive in trying to change it.
All right. I mean, fair man. It's not an easy question by any way.
Yeah, exactly.
If there was a solution, like, I'm pretty sure we would have gotten it by now. Like, if it was like an obvious thing.
If I knew the solution, trust me, I'd give it to you. But got the most experienced people with the least time and the least money, and you've got the people with the most time and who have no money to travel to things, and also, you know, aren't always sure. Maybe more publicity from Quidditch UK about resources that are out there would be handy. There are times, certainly, where I think people are looking for help but aren't sure how to get it, and not everyone has the confidence to post on Quidditch UK or, you know, message a stranger asking for it. So maybe more publicity of what's out there would be really useful for teams.
Okay. I mean, fair. I feel, yeah, that's probably good. Callum Rich says, thanks for the help on the compact defense at Dev Cup.
Oh, that's all right, you know? But that's the other thing. Like, the people that you do help, it does make a difference. And I think that's maybe what we should focus on as well. Like, it's all well and good saying, this is Jay Holmes, he'll coach you. But if we say, maybe if we publicise the results more, you know, what has coaching done, that's going to help people to see the benefit of it, maybe a little more.
Yeah. Well, someone on the chat also said, like, I guess people do need to kind of define. Well, what's the question? So, is what actually is wanted by the teams? Like, what kind of help is actually needed by uni teams? That's like always should be down to the uni team, in a sense.
Yeah. And I think it's hard because when you're at uni and starting out, you're not necessarily knowing what, or you think you've got it. I've met loads of new players and uni players who think they are the complete business, and maybe, you know, I mean,
that's just me in a nutshell. Except I'm no longer in a uni team.
Like, I waddle over with a bit of a belly and my caveman beard and go, right, what do you want to know? If I'm, you know, the 18-year-old rugby player, I'm going to go, what does this guy know? You know, why should I have to listen to him? And I think that can be a problem as well. I think maybe fostering a culture of development more in Quidditch would be great. And I think a lot of times people don't want to, you know, volunteer. We see it. Reffing coaching is the recognition isn't there. At the end of the day, everyone wants a thank you. And maybe, you know, I know Quidditch UK is trying to publicise their volunteers more. But if we could do some more stuff for that, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, fair. Oh, man, to be fair, this community stuff is actually kind of making me sad because I've been speaking to a lot of people, and it's kind of, it is sad seeing like a lot of the teams, you know, they go from being great teams to no longer great teams. Like even Banger, like
no,
yeah,
don't get me started. I'll cry on screen.
But it's like same as this. It's like we pretty much, well, messed up Manchester because we left at the time we did leave. And I guess that's just the problem with uni teams, and it's a shame, really.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams don't build for the future. I think I did the job of trying to build for the future. I made sure there were leaders in place and a team in place, and the team was successful after. But a lot of uni teams are in sort of win now mode, where they're trying to win that season, and they'll sort of see what happens. And I think that's tough because of the 3-year cycle and sort of our systems of playing. But I do think it is the responsibility of leaving uni players to ensure that their team, you know, gets what they need. And if people aren't willing to do that, they're going to hurt their uni, which is a shame because, you know, your uni team is your legacy, especially a couple of years after it. And it's important to make sure that they survive.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, you say that, but like a lot of the times, man, you can't prepare for like a lot of your graduates to go. Like sometimes you just can't, and like you can't expect to. It's like, okay, like because we did when we left Manchester, we did leave some people that you know, had leadership skills, but in the end, it was just like a lot of quality players leaving, and we didn't have a good recruitment.
Yeah.
So, and I guess this kind of follows up to the next question, like because we have seen recruitment decreasing. So like, what do you think? I guess we could do more to help out. And obviously, I don't mean like give us the answer, Jay, because like, you know.
I've got loads, mate. They're not necessarily the right answer, but they are answers.
I mean, it's a conversation, man. That's the whole point of this thing. No one I'll interview will be like the right.
Yeah,
you know.
I think the mistake a lot of uni teams make is they try and recruit literally everyone they see. So people are like, oh, we gave out 500 flyers. And it's like, yeah, but if you've looked at someone and know they're not going to come to a taster session or turn up, what's the point?
You just wasted a
So
paper.
when I was recruiting at Bangor, I always went with the proviso that 10% of the people you talk to will come to the training session, and maybe 10% of those people will stay, as like a minimum, just for playing the odds. So I made sure that when we were on our school, we did targeted recruitment. I was like, if someone genuinely doesn't look like they're going to be interested, let them walk by. You know, let them say, all right, good luck. You know, you can go do whatever you fancy. But if they look like you could convince them to go for it. And I made it clear. I was like, we'll let anyone join, but we're targeting athletic people that basically are either too shy or awkward to make the other teams, or are athletic but want to give Quidditch a bash. So we did that. We did targeted recruitment. We sought out those people at the freshers' stall. And I've always said, what you put on the freshers' stall is what you recruit. If you put 5 people dressed in Harry Potter capes with glasses and wands that look like they've never seen a weight room in their life, that's what you'll recruit. Genuinely, that's what you'll get. Whereas if you try and go for, like, let's put our more attractive members, genuinely, be shallow about it, and our more athletic looking members, then that is going to make a big difference to how we recruit. What you put on the stall is what you're going to get. So we did that. We got 30 people to our taster session, which obviously for me, I was like, oh dear, maybe the targeted recruitment hasn't worked out. And then 10 stayed. So 33% of the people we had at our training session stayed. Yes, the attendees of the training session was lower, but the retention was better because we targeted our recruitment. We said, these are the sort of people we want to join. So when Callum Lake walked past the stall, I was like, you're right, mate. You thought about giving Quidditch a go? Me and him had a bit of a chat, and he put his name down. And I was like, being honest, for me in win now mode, Callum is worth, 3 or 4 other players. And I said to Fabian, you never know, that bloke could be my new best friend. Callum came to the session, we made sure he enjoyed it, and then he came back. He stayed on full time. And I do think it is about targeting your recruitment, trying to appease everyone, trying to say, oh, we're super athletic, but we also like Harry Potter. We're super social and kind, but we also go out on the smash. We try not to be competitive, oh, but we also enjoy winning. You're not going to recruit anyone doing that. You need to think about the type of people you're trying to recruit and then cater from there.
Yeah, but then the problem is I guess, in the community, we do have a little bit, not a dissonance, but like people have disagreeing views. And that's like, what is the ethos of Quidditch? Is it a competitive sport or is it for fun? Because like you ask you and you say, yeah, it could be both. And I would agree. Like it's for fun, but I also want to be competitive. But for a lot of people, like especially when we had in Manchester, we had 2 teams. One was the competitive, one was not. So if...
But then you tailor who's on the stall for that recruitment. Maybe you say, right, for this hour, we're going to try and recruit the athletes. For the next hour, we'll recruit the jocks. And then the next hour, we'll recruit the people that maybe haven't done sport. And I think the community is conflicted about what the culture of Quidditch is, but most teams understand what they're going for. So Bangor knew that our culture was, try and be athletic, basically go out a lot, let's try and win. So those are the people we tried to recruit and did so successfully. It doesn't matter that the community maybe on large disagree with that, but because that's our club and our culture, that's what we've recruited and that's what's a success.
Okay. Fair. Oh, it would be nice though if you could just especially for Manchester, I'm going to keep going because that's like the only uni team I've been at. For us, it was difficult because we were put with the board game societies and stuff.
Yeah.
So basically, like we were just either ignored or people would see us and like, well, this is not a sport.
So
yeah, because that was also the day where like we had Fraser, we had me, we had who was it? Like Manon showed up. Like we had a bunch of kind of. I think Matt even showed up for a bit. Like we had a bunch of people that were good level, but it didn't matter.
Of Bangor is that we were in the AU, which meant we got to be with the the sports teams. But I do think if maybe you're not in that, then go outside, take some hoops outside with you, and have a chuck about outside there. No one's going to hold that against you for doing that. And I think people might need to sometimes be a bit more proactive in doing so, because if you're going right, no one's coming to see us. You've got to get yourself out there and make them, haven't you?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I guess it is just a demoralizing thing when you sit there for the whole time, try and give it out. In the end, you go to your first training, and no one shows up, and you're just like, well, what was this all for?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I 100% get that. Like, it is a struggle, especially
Right.
when you're competing with like 100 other sports teams.
Yeah.
But it is just, you've got to put your net out there and hope you catch something.
Yeah, fair. I guess let's shift into more of a improvement aspect, because I mean it has been a bit of a doom and gloom episode. So I guess like it's important that people know that there is still hope. We're not screwed yet. Like, so someone just said, I want to improve as a player, but I don't know what I can do to do that. Like, do you have any advice what a player could do?
So there's the obvious answer, which is just the fitter you get, the better you're going to be. Like, it's no secret. The fitter you are as an athlete, the better you're going to be as a player. What I'd say, especially when you're starting out, get as much. I realise it's a bit harder in these COVID-19 times, but getting as much player experience as you can. Go to Merc events, go to every training. Play for different teams if you can, because that is a lot of fun. And just get as much experience on pitch. Watch the resources, watch the videos that are out there to help people, and just practice. Like, go into your garden, practice throwing a ball. Go to a field, practice throwing a ball.
Okay. Just the basic skills.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you nail the fundamentals, then you can everything else can come. The best players aren't always the most gifted. They're the players that can do the fundamentals the best. And if you're not sure, how to throw properly, ask your coach, watch some videos. There's plenty of videos online about how to throw the ball. But at a tournament, find one of the Team UK morons and say, if they won't help you, come find me. I will give you all the time in the world. If you come up to me and say, Jay, I want to learn how to throw a ball, you will have my undivided attention. But it is just about nailing those basics. Once you nail the basics, everything else will come.
Okay. So let's go a bit more advanced. So let's say you're good, you know the basics a bit. How do you improve further? Like, because I've been a fan, and that's what I kind of tried to do with the Angels. I try to force people to study games. And I do appreciate that they're, sometimes the visuals and the thing is just crap. Bad quality, bad sound. Sometimes the camera doesn't follow anything. But like, how important, and I guess how important video analysis would be to the sport?
So I personally hate watching footage for the reason that you've just said of, it's usually quite poor quality. But I do think watching footage, but also standing with someone at a tournament and watching a game and just having a chat about what they're doing is going to help your development. Why do you think they've done that? What do you think they could do here? Do we run a play like that? Oh, it's not worked. Why do you think that is? Watch the American footage. Like, the American footage is the best footage. Watch some Aussie footage if they've got it. But don't bog yourself down. Like, sitting in front of a computer isn't going to suddenly make you the next.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely.
But I do think I'd rather people spend more time getting experience playing than thinking they're going to get better from
magic.
From just watching film. It's like anything. Repetition is what gets you there. You repeat something enough, you're going to get better at it. The science, you'd hope, would say. Yeah, it's just repetition and practice.
Yeah.
Tactics harder, like that is watching film, watching analysis, watching conversations. But the better you get at the game, the more developed you'll start to see it. I think is the way to. But it is tough. I mean, it is tough if you don't have a dedicated coach. But then that's on you to go out and find them. It can't be spoon-fed all the time.
I mean, fair. But it's like, to be fair, I did want to actively do it because it seems like a lot of people just never do it. And I mean, for me personally, like, football players do it. They have sessions. Like, I mean, yeah, obviously a more experienced coach does it for them and kind of like shows them. But a lot of like the top players have said, look, I go to these tactical sessions, I practice every day, and also I go home, I put the football on, I take a notebook, and I just see, hey, what is Barcelona doing? Oh, okay, so they do this, this, this. Why? Because I
Well,
feel
that's
like
the thing.
yeah.
We do some footage analysis at Team UK. We do some as Raptors. I mean, it is just about, making sure that you've got it going on. I think watching other sports is also really helpful. People don't appreciate how much watching other sports helps you with Quidditch. But if you can understand other sports, then it's going to improve your understanding.
Oh no,
of
definitely, yeah. Because I think I got a leg up definitely because I play football and I play a bunch of other sports. So.
Well, that's exactly it, mate. Like, I know quite a lot about other sports, which meant the transition to knowing about Quidditch was a lot easier.
Okay. So guys, if you're in the chat, just write any questions. I do have some, but if you find something cool, ask. Don't be afraid. Okay, so back to hoops, which is I assume some of your friends.
That James standing guard.
Yeah. So how do you teach someone to watch and analyze? Oh, that wasn't a question. Sorry, but like he does say that it is important. Like you teach also someone to how to watch and analyze. So do you reckon that's something like QUK should do, or just something like?
I mean, Team UK do it, mate. It's no dramas for us.
Mm.
I think knowing what you're looking at, like, I get really bored of when people watch someone and they're like, "Oh, they're so athletic." I'm like, what do you mean?
Mm.
Do you mean that they're good at taking a high ball down and collecting it? Do you mean they're good at driving over someone? It's knowing what to look for in a game. What made that, possession for a beater successful? What happened to open up that shot for the person who took it? It's about watching a play and then watching the parts that have made it. Watching a game once all the way through isn't enough. You've got to see and sit with someone and say, what built up to make this play happen? What sequence of events happened to, create that goal? And that is really tough. But the more you do things like that, the better. The issue with that is it's incredibly dull. And myself and James might do it because, we're incredibly dull. But I think it's hard to convince maybe a fresher to sit and watch cavalry play Quidditch.
Yeah, but that's why you have coaches, man, at this rate.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so they can kind of like give you a bite-sized version of this.
I
mean, to be fair, do you reckon that could be something you guys do? Because you guys do a bunch of.
We have talked about doing analysis in future. So we're going to try and get all the basic videos done first, and then maybe look at doing some footage analysis. But also the midlines out there, they do some really great footage analysis. So there's always them to give a watch as well.
Okay. Well, back to hoops is on the questions now. So, so they do say, should teams devote session time to do this, or is it just the player's responsibility? I mean,
I want to say, James, where's the fun questions, man? These are all the questions we have in the pub. I think training sessions should stay as training sessions. People have gone there to train and ultimately gone there to have a good time. And I wouldn't want to take that away from people. But I think saying, like the start of our social on Wednesday, we're going to watch some footage, and then after that, we're going to head to the pub. That's what maybe you're looking to do with people. Integrate it into your club culture. Say, right, we're going to go, we'll watch some footage, and then we're going to go to the pub, and we can chat about it there. An hour or so of watching footage, and then you go out to the pub after.
And enjoy it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You do a bit of work. It's like anything at university or clubs. You do a bit of work, and then you've earned your right to enjoy it.
Fair. Yeah, because I was going to say, like, it should never be the responsibility. I mean, it should be both, like, if you want to, be something, if you want to like, if you're really interested in this, why not spend, some time on your own?
You've got to want to improve. Want to improve.
I found that it's a bit easier to get people to watch games if they've played in as a group, rather than one-on-one. Requires filming games. Yeah, so like, yeah, it's the film. So a lot of the times, the filming is the issue. Like, there's not much analysis you can do if it's just like 2 pixels on a screen.
Yeah, well, I did post about this the other day, and you know, with the scaffolding and filming games, that I thought was a good idea. I think better footage just definitely makes in theory, the sport more marketable and reviews easier to happen. But I've only my magic wand only has so many wishes in it, and I don't think I'm going to be able to fix fix the filming. But I agree, you know, something's got to happen. I do need footage to improve, and I think that is the way forward. You know, if we can improve the value of footage and improve what footage looks like, then people to actually watch it.
Yeah, because that's what kind of Sam is looking into. He's trying to see a bunch of like what he can do to help out as well.
Yeah.
You were saying something, or did you just cut out?
No, I was saying that's it.
Oh, okay,
that's what you want the improvement.
Well, back to hoops again. What do you think is the first priority for teams? What's the first thing they should do when they come back after, well, this situation has resolved? I reckon fitness.
What do you mean? So, like, after an event? Or...
No, sorry. As in, like, I assume it means, like, after this Corona thing is done and they say we can go back safely to do, like, full team things. What's the first thing people should focus on?
You're the coach of the team, James. That's up to goodness me. So
I mean, I assume he's asking for the benefit of people watching and not just for...
He's trying to catch me out. He's trying to make me... He's trying to ask a question
that you don't know the answer to.
It depends on your team. I think if your team wasn't particularly fit or do any fitness before, trying to force them to do fitness now is going to be absolutely pointless. I think people need to just get playing again to start off with. Enjoy playing. Enjoy this time that, you know, we've all missed playing. Play some games, do some basic drills. It's going to be teaching people how to throw again, because people are going to have fallen off an absolute cliff with remembering how to do the basics if they've not been keeping up with it. To sort of gauge the level everyone's at, gauge the fitness of the team, gauge what they've been up to, you know, during the mighty Corona and then go from there. But most people are just going to want to play a game. And I don't think they should be, you know, prevented from doing that.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, I don't know. I don't speak for the coaches of Olympians, but the first thing I would like to focus on is fitness. It's like we can treat this a bit as a, you know, a very long preseason. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you come back and you just have to...
I think if you're a team that's looking to be competitive, people should have been doing fitness during this time.
Yeah, but it's not the same thing. It's like, yeah, because I'm doing fitness. I'm actually the lightest I've been in 4 years. Like, I've lost a shit ton of weight. But I don't think the cardio of running on the pitch will be exactly the same. So...
Well, you'll gauge that by playing games. Like, once you play those first 2 games, you'll gauge where your team's at in terms of... their fitness.
So you reckon it shouldn't be like what the Premier League teams do, like go to Dubai and just spend the whole, you know, 3 weeks just sprinting, you know, doing shuttle runs?
Good luck keeping your team doing that, mate. Genuinely, you say that to most people on the team, they say, well, I'm just not going to go. I think the key thing after Corona is just getting people enjoying playing again. That's what I'm looking to do. Getting people back as a team, the camaraderie, remembering, you know, what it was like to have a ball in there, and just having a good time. And then the fitness can come after that. But the first thing we need to be doing is just playing again. Seeing each other, hanging out, remembering why we play the sport.
Fair. All right. Fair. Right. People ask, how useful would be getting metrics for player scouting for Team UK and improvements?
Pardon?
I have no idea. Did you not hear me, or what happened?
No, can you repeat the question, please?
So... if people can actually write them nicer so it's easier to read, because I'm playing a game and I'm trying to listen to Jay, so it's kind of hard to read off the questions. But the question is, how useful would be getting metrics for player scouting for Team UK and improvements? I assume they mean like, yeah.
So scout to join Team UK, really useful. Like, currently, my scouts are me and some of the people on Team UK just giving it a go. And we do write reports, you know, and we do write metrics. But if I could have some tangible data about how effective a player was, that really does help. Obviously, the analytics don't tell the whole story, but it's good for improvement. So, like, I worked out what my overall win share was the other day, and knowing information like that does help you understand how effective you are as a player, and it could help me understand how effective, you know, uni people are as players too. So I'm never going to turn that information down, but I think getting enough people that could correlate that data for free, is quite difficult. So I have like a rating system that I use to rate players very quickly and very simply when I've seen them. But actually having like game stats in full would be really, really, really helpful.
Yeah, because then it'll be on you, like, to I guess read through it and try and understand and make sense of it.
I think if there's a player who has a win share of 80% of the club games they've played in, they should probably get a call up for Team UK, shouldn't they?
I mean, you guys aren't doing a great job. I'm not picked yet, so.
I mean, those stats are mine, so I'm still waiting. You know, it will come one day. It will come one day.
Fair. Oh man. So, how does scouting work? I guess. Like, do you guys like? How many people do you reckon you miss? Because there's so few of you.
The thing is, though, there's loads of different ways to scout. And like, genuinely, one of the easiest ways is you look at compliment threads after tournaments. You know, if someone's getting absolutely gassed up by everyone else, they're probably worth taking a look at. But I do think, you know, we definitely miss some people, which is going to happen. But I don't think I've missed anyone that can make a difference. I think Team UK is in a really good spot now. I think our scouting is quite effective. I think my scouting is really good, personally. I think the issue is there's players who are great club players. There are players who are great players for their club, but you transition them to international, and maybe they don't have it as much. Like George Furbank, Rugby Union, fantastic player, fantastic club player, gets called up for England. He's not as good. You know, the jump between club and international is phenomenal. It becomes a game of meters to a game of inches. I think that's what a lot of people don't appreciate, is just how much harder international is to club. Because being a good club player, honestly, is quite easy. But being a good player for an international, that's where the difficulties come. But obviously, the more scouts there are, the better it is.
Okay.
And I do like to give people a chance, but it's one of those resources are limited, you know? I can't do it all. The scouts I have are also some of my best players. And I want them to focus on being the best version of themselves, not always finding their own replacement.
Okay, fair. Right. Let's see if anyone else said anything. You know what? I do have a question. So, obviously, reading a lot of... well, it's time. I mean, it's been an hour, man. Enough of slightly easier questions. So, I think you're not the most... I don't know how to say it, but like reading the comments, sometimes you are blamed for a lot of things. So how do you take that personally, that you are the I guess the scapegoat of a lot of things?
Yeah. So like there was that thread a couple of weeks ago where the guy was going in on me, calling me the Swan, a nickname that I've lovingly embraced. I think it doesn't bother me that much now, because I genuinely have proven success. It's proven what I do works. I do think people are very quick to judge you on what you look like, who you are, what they think you are. And it, to a degree, it does bother me. Like, a lot of people judge me or hate me, having never had a conversation with them. And, you know, I've got a lot of friends, so that doesn't bother me. But it is tough, you know, when I go to a tournament or go to an environment and I'm, you know, having to try and earn my place to prove to people that I've never met that I'm not, you know, a bad person, or that I'm not actually trying to ruin the sport. And that's tough, you know. That takes a toll on you. Especially, you know, some of the things people say, they definitely would never say to me in person. And some of the stuff people say, I think they don't appreciate, you know, that what isn't particularly kind, but that is sort of the way you've got to go off it. If I let every little comment get to me, I wouldn't be a very good coach, and you know, I'd never get anything done. It is tough being, you know, talked down on by a lot of people, but you just got to take it in your stride. You know I can be a bit controversial, but these days I'm not actually sure why people think that. You know, I do everything I can to try and help the sport. And yes, I'm loud, and I'm definitely not, you know, the middle class sort of stereotypical Quidditch player. You know, I swear a lot. I've got my accent. You know, I'm a bit rough around the edges. I'm quite outspoken, but I think everything I've done, I've tried to push forward, and you just got to get on with it. You know.
Okay.
Like I don't thrive off people hating me. I don't enjoy people using me as a scapegoat and disliking me. I don't enjoy people saying that, you know, Raptors being good is my fault and they're ruining the sport, but I don't have enough time to fight every fire, so I've just got to crack on.
Okay.
You know, I'm the head coach of Team UK for a reason, and if Team UK think I'm good enough, then that's good enough for me.
Okay. Do you reckon, like, have you read something and when people were critical of you and you were like, oh shit, maybe they're right? Have you had that, or like, obviously not in everything?
I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion. No one's opinion's wrong to them, is it?
No, yeah.
But like, there are some things I've read which I think are completely unfounded. And what bothers me more, I don't actually care to a degree what people write. Is that it's always usually me who gets singled out. And I'm not trying to make this a woe me sort of thing. You know, I'm a big boy, I can take it. But I think it's very easy to immediately go and blame me. And I'll tell you what, mate, growing up, you know, uni, I wasn't a particularly great person. I wasn't that nice a bloke. And I had a lot of issues that I had to work through. I had a lot of issues that I had to go through as a young man and someone growing up. But I like to think I've grown up now. I've changed quite a lot, but maybe some people still judge me on how I behaved when I was 19. And that's up to them, you know. First impressions count. First impressions last. But I do think these days I'm just trying to do everything I can to make Quidditch a success, and that's not going to be popular with everyone, but that's how it is.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, like, to be honest, like, I went into the sport and, like, I don't know how, but I did get the impression that people, like, don't like it. And for some reason, I found myself like, oh, Jay's like, you know, he's the villain. He's Voldemort, basically. I'm sorry for using that. But, like...
But that's the thing. No, I get it. Like, people tell new players that Jay Holmes is a bit of a prick. And if one of your friends says, that person you've never met, you shouldn't like, you're not going to like them. Would you trust your...
Yeah, probably.
And that's and you know, that's fine. I'll happily be the pantomime villain. I think there's people in the sport that do a lot more damage than I do. And are certainly a lot more toxic than I am. But people are entitled to their opinion. And if that's what they want to believe, then I'll let them crack on with it.
Yeah, well, I guess that's why I wanted to do this with you as well, because, like, I didn't want it to just be like, because I wanted to, you know, get people's opinions and get just things. I don't want to be like, you know, letting the more known players not be heard of as well, because I am kind of approaching to you from a different angle that maybe people have heard it from you before. Because honestly, like,
yeah, exactly.
So I think that's what I bring, and yeah, like, again, I appreciate you coming through, and I appreciate you not storming off at any of the questions so far.
Hey, the one thing you can say about evil works hard, and I am a hard worker, you know? But yeah, that's it, and it's nice to, you know, get some of the more challenging questions. I think a lot of people, when they talk to me, are afraid to ask some of the more difficult questions because either I'll give an answer which isn't very kind, or they might not like the answer. So it's nice to come on and address questions like this, because I don't usually get the chance to, and it's quite fun, to be perfectly honest.
Okay, oh, that's good. That's definitely important, because, I mean, man, conversation is the most important thing in this sport, especially. Like, we need conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so I want you to answer something.
Go for it.
Why are Raptors the most hated team?
That's a fantastic question.
I mean, yeah, that's peak of journalism right here.
Yeah, so I think Raptors were the first community team who came and won it all, and in their first season smashed it, and in their second season smashed it again. And it's really easy to hate people that are successful. And it's really easy to dislike people that are. And in the time, you know, everyone was like, "Oh, community teams, they're ruining the sport." And Raptors were the first ones to sort of get that missile aimed at them. I do think as well, you know, having me on the team, even the stuff I don't do on Raptors, I get blamed for, which is less than ideal. We've got some very outspoken people. We've got some people that keep to themselves. But I think it's easy to hate on success, and it's easy to hate on people you know. Like, most of the players on Raptors are quite well-known players, and that makes it really easy to dislike them for, you know, being good. I think the play style as well, the sort of grit and grind, rough and ready play style, people don't like that. Yeah, Quidditch is a full contact sport. And there's loads of times people have said to me, you know, why have you hit that person? You know, why did you truck it in? It's like, well, that's my play style. That's how I play. That's how I'm effective as a player. And I think Raptors were maybe one of the first teams that took that grit and grind play style and really ran with it. And
the true North style.
But yeah, I think it was a cocktail of factors which just led to Raptors getting a bad rap.
Okay. So what would you say for if well, what do you say to, I guess, when people say like you guys are way too I want to say aggressive and physical?
So I think that's a tough one. So when people are like you're too physical, what does that mean? Genuinely, when they say that, what do they mean? Do they mean you actually tackle us and you'll touch us on offense? Because whether people are like it or not, that's the game. You know, Quidditch is designed to be a full contact sport. The fact that people aren't good at contact doesn't mean that my play style is suddenly worth less than theirs. I think people struggle with that quite a bit. I don't think we are too physical. I think everything we do, you know, we're doing to... I don't think we're dangerous, personally. Some might disagree, but that's, you know, they're allowed to be wrong.
I mean, you guys do have more injuries in your games against you than other teams.
Do we? How do you know that?
Well, I mean, you don't really get to hear any other stories. Like, if you go to a tournament and you hear a big injury, you guys go, oh, probably Raptors play, and you're most likely right.
And that's because people don't like us. You know what I mean? Like, people go, oh, it's Raptors. Genuinely, if you looked at the stats, the injury games to Raptors is probably, yeah, it might be a bit higher. But that's because we actually play the contact of the game. If everyone had the same level of contact as us, either injuries might go up, fair enough, or they might go down because people were used to it, you know? But I don't think we're unsafe. The fact that we have more injuries doesn't mean we're going out to hurt people. The fact that we're, you know, if you compare stats for how many tackles we complete a game, how many drives we complete a game, if those numbers are 300% another team, obviously we are going to have more injuries because we're actually playing the game more. But, you know, Raptors have never gone out to hurt anyone.
Oh, no, yeah, like, that's the thing I never agreed with people. Like, I never, like, in any situation thought that Jay would be like, right, guys, fish, you know, Ollie, go and, like, break their knees. Like, I don't think that's a thing. Like, and I do find it silly when people say that about you guys.
That's exactly it. People equate a physical play style to try and hurt people. You watch South Africa play rugby. They play probably one of the most physical brands of rugby in the world imaginable. But no one ever accuses them of... Well, some people do accuse them of trying to hurt people back in the day when Backy's Botha was playing. But you know what I mean? At the World Cup, no one was like, oh, they're trying to hurt people.
Yeah, but they do get paid, mate. They do get paid. If someone gets injured in that game...
When I play a game of rugby for my local club, if I go, God, that guy's playing a bit physical, what does that mean, you know? It's a full contact game. I think the issue is the skill disparity. If I'm playing against someone who, you know, has never played a sport in their life, when I tackle them, that probably is going to do more to them than someone who has. But that's on their coach to, you know, teach them how to fall, how to get tackled. And so I don't mean to, like, go at you about this. It's just like, it's a narrative that gets really boring for me and James. And I'll be perfectly honest, if Raptors wanted to hurt people, a lot more people would. No, genuinely. I I don't mean this how it sounds. If I went out to a game to try and hurt you, you just wouldn't walk again. Because I'd drive my shoulder straight into your kneecap and break your knee. If that's honestly what people think Raptors are trying to do, then there'd be an injury every game and people would be absolutely pickled. Like, being aggressive, being physical doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you're playing your brand of the game, I think.
So do you reckon you guys, well, do you guys ever like check your tackle, as in like, oh, there's a person who's like like much smaller than me, I'll go like 20% or 50% weaker. Do you not believe in that?
So like if I'm against a 5'2", 40-kilogram person, I'm gonna hit them with as much force as I need to take them down. The issue with that comes where, say I hit someone a bit hard, people go, oh, that was a bit unnecessary. But if I don't hit them as hard as I did, they might score. My team might lose.
Yeah.
And that's a game of inches. You know, I'm never going to go out to hurt someone, but I am going to go out to stop someone.
I mean, you do say that, but like, it's highly unlikely that many teams will score against you guys. Like, even we struggled, and we're like the second best team in the North right now. So
but that's because we play like that. The reason don't score against us is because we play this physical brand. You know, I'm never saying to people, you know, go out and mull at someone. I'm saying go out with enough force to bring someone down. Don't go out to hurt someone, but tackle them properly. You know, the contact rules aren't give the opposition a tickle and they'll turn over the ball. If we're playing against each other, mate, I'm going to need to give you a good old hit to stop you. And the same, you know, when people play me. And I'd be all for this, but as soon as you go to any tournament or Merc tournament, you know, I'm the first person people want to lay a cheap shot on. No, genuinely, the bigger people think, oh, it doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want. They can take it. And I think it's a double standard maybe that Quidditch needs to move past. But I'm never saying to Raptors go out and, you know, tear that fresher in half.
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
get the ball.
No, man, fair. To be fair, like, I think one of the few, I guess, questions that I didn't want, the reason why I wanted to ask you is not so I could just, like, shit on you, but it's just, people do mention it, and people do talk about it, and I do think it's important that, I guess, it's important that I challenge you, and it's important that you give me an answer, because then people will more likely listen, as opposed to...
Because I agree, mate.
Because honestly, I think in a lot of games you guys play, you could take that down by 10%. Because, I mean, that's how I play as well. Like, there's a lot of games where I know we're going to win. I do take my tackling down as well. But then again, I'm not of the same level of a player. So, like, it's kind of hard. Because especially if you do go into games like this, thinking, okay, we need to tone it down 20, 30%, then you're not really playing the sport.
I think for us, it's just about setting a standard. It's not saying, like, we need to go the extra 10% because this is a big game, or go down an extra 20% because this is against the fresher team. We say this is the standard of expectation. This is how we train. This is how we play. And that's the standard we're going to try and meet. Because as soon as you let your standard slip, that's when your team's going to slip, I think.
Well, yeah, not fair. To be fair, like, this is a perfect segue again into the, I guess, the controversial uni community split. Because I'm thinking, so once we do split that, you will most likely not meet the uni teams. So I'm just thinking, would the injuries lower down? Because a lot of people have mentioned, and Bateman mentioned it, and even Chloe mentioned, I think, that like a lot of the injuries are because the freshers, or the, I guess, I want to say younger people, but I mean like the people that don't play much, they don't have the time from September to November to be proficient enough in tackling that they will not die from a little hit.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I think the uni com split is going to might be rough sailing for a little bit, but in the end, it's going to be the best thing for our little community, you know. And I hope that it will lead to tighter games. Maybe some players will moan less about Raptors. That'd be nice.
Oh no, we'll still moan about you, mate.
No, I'm being.
We have a group chat of every single player, but you personally.
I have been for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, I think it is going to be good because it is hard. What I find really tough, going back to what you said, is if I tackle someone, they are going to have no idea what to do. And if I think me hitting them is going to risk injuring them, then I won't. But I'm hoping with this Unicom split, it will give people a better chance to play against their level. And people that have had the same experiences as they have in terms of time in the game and time to learn the game as well. Because Northern is frankly unfair. Like, don't get me wrong, winning it is great, but I get no satisfaction smashing a 19-year-old that has no idea how.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I'm not getting better doing that.
I mean, it's also that. Also, shit, I died. Oh no, I'm not. I'm fine. But it's also like your hardest game. Well, I'd like to think that was against us, and even then it was like 100 to 30, and then we caught it because we had to take the bus. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, actually, I was gonna ask you about that. What did you guys think? Because I did hear a lot of negativity from you guys that we cold caught. What do you think? What do you think of cold catching?
I think it's a waste of time. Like, personally, I understand why people do it, and genuinely, I get it. But if you're that desperate to leave, you can just quit, can't you?
Well, that is a way of quitting. Then that's the thing.
Now, just say to the ref, "Sorry, got to get the bus. We're off." What's the difference?
But then what's the difference?
Well, it gets it over with straight away. Why waste your time, spending time trying to catch the snitch when you could just end it instantly?
I guess. But it's like, the thing is, we would never cold catch on a normal day, but like, it was just getting ridiculous at that point, and we had no other way of going home. So it's like, shit, what do we do? Like, what would you do in that situation? Just not show up for the final?
I'd play and miss the bus home.
And then what'd you do? How'd you get home? Like, I had uni the next day. People had work. Because I assume you guys have cars, most of you.
No, I get the train everywhere.
Oh, okay. So you just miss it and get a Airbnb?
Yeah, I think it depends what the game is. If I know I'm going to lose, then I'd just go home. If it was, say it was 10 minutes before we had to get the bus, I'd say, right, we're going to miss the bus. Let's have a chat with them and pack it in. And if it's the EQC final, I'll miss everything to be there. I think that is a really tricky situation. But it mainly comes to, I think that is part of the organisation of Quidditch to a degree. But I think it's a tough spot. Like, I don't like cold catching. I understand why people do it, but it's a tough one. Like, it's always going to be part of the sport, but I personally would never do it, no matter how much I was losing by.
Okay. But just so you know, we weren't doing it because we wanted to quit. We wanted to do it because we need to get home.
Whatever you got to tell yourself, man. Whatever you got to tell yourself.
All right, when this thing is over, man, I will play you. I will fix my knees just to get on.
No, I get that. And honestly, like, I rate that. Like, if you got to get home, you got to get home. But I think there's plenty of people that cold catch with less, practical intentions. If they think they're going to lose, go for it, and that's up to them. I'm against it, and I don't enjoy it. But if that's what people want to do, more power to them.
Okay.
Like, it's bad for me. If you're doing it in a live game, it's the equivalent of playing a bad tactic. Like, I don't disagree with the tactic, but if that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do.
Okay. Someone wrote in the chat about this, actually. So they say, what do you think about weak teams cold catching so they could practice snitch on pitch play?
I think that makes sense. But I think you can... At that point, you're just practicing for your seeker, really, aren't you? I think if you're going to cold catch and you're like 200 down and you think it will benefit you in the next game, then maybe that does have some merit. But like cold catching in a knockout game, I think is not very worthwhile, personally.
All right. That was the question from Amit. So what do you say? Seeking defensively and quitting are both boring options in my opinion, but at least a cold catch gives you a goal. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I can respect that. If you want to see it as something to work towards, then more power to you. I think that's certainly a way of looking at it. You can say we got we've lost by X amount, but we did catch the snitch. And if people are looking for those small victories, then good on them. Like, I just because I wouldn't do it doesn't mean that other people shouldn't. It's just not a tactic that I'd ever do.
Oh, fair.
I do think we need to start looking at it as a tactical choice, and it's just never one that I would make.
Yeah, fair. But I mean, you probably won't have to do it.
I mean, I had plenty of chance when I was at uni to cold catch, and I said we wouldn't do it then from day one. So,
Okay.
and there were some games where we got absolutely filled in. Trust me. So, yeah, like it's just not something that I'd ever do. For me, I'm always trying to push on to win the entire game, regardless of the score. But I think maybe that's to do with my mindset of sport rather than anything else.
Okay. Fair. I mean, since we're talking, mate, do you have any questions for me that you want to ask? Oh, wait, hang on. Sorry, before you say that. Are you actually watching the chat, by the way?
I'm not. Why?
Okay. No. I'm just like, because people are answering to you, and I'm just trying to make sure that you do have a conversation as well.
Oh, yeah, go for it. What have people said?
So, Ahmed said that's true, but in order to be in a position to cold catch, there needs to be a huge skill gap between the teams, and that matters less. Okay, no, you did kind of talk about it. Yeah, so he does say like to be in the proper for a lot of the uni teams, like they won't often be in, I guess, the time where you need to catch the snitch to win. So they just basically never will practice that.
I mean that's fair, and I do appreciate that. If people want to cold catch to practice, then that's on them. You know. Like,
but you're not banning it from Quidditch. Huh? You're not taking the executive decision.
Like, my word isn't law, as we have established. It's just something that I disagree with first. Okay.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, so, okay, go on. Hit me with, if you have any questions, hit me. If not, I'll just continue.
No, hit me with, I'll have a think, mate, while I'm playing. Hit me with
let's kind of slow it down a bit.
Right.
Why do you still play Quidditch?
That's a good one. That is a good one. I think a lot of people are, counting down the days to quit. So the reason that I still play Quidditch is two reasons. The first one's a soppy one. It's a way that I get to see a lot of my closest friends that live all over the country. And like Raptor training and events is a great time to meet up, hang out, do something we all enjoy, and go from there. So that's one reason. The other reason is there's not really any other sport in the world where I could be a national team coach at the age of 24. That's really exciting. Like being able to travel abroad to coach at a national level is super exciting and super rewarding, and I absolutely love it. And that's certainly something that keeps me engaged.
Okay. I mean, yeah, to be fair, like, it is for a lot of us at this stage, like, a lot of our friends are in this sport. And if you do stop it, like, if you stop it altogether, then it's not as bad. But if you stop, like, let's say, like, for me, I'm injured, and I've been injured for a while. If I was to, quote-unquote, stop Quidditch, stop showing up to trainings, I would not see most of my friends.
Exactly.
So I kind of have to...
It's like anything. Like, you play it because you enjoy the sport, but you also play it because you enjoy playing with those people.
Yeah. But do you enjoy playing with those people?
I mean, they are, for better or worse, some of my closest friends. So that is sort of stuck with them now.
Right. So you have to rate your Raptors players from 1 to... No, I'm joking. That would be a stupid thing to say. So again, Ahmed asks, do you particularly enjoy Quidditch more than other sports? As I think he means it more of like the sport aspect. So let's say if you could just go, right, Raptors, we're all moving to ping pong, or whatever, or like volleyball.
So, not particularly, to be perfectly honest. I enjoy Quidditch as the sport it is because it's very unique. I don't really enjoy watching Quidditch. I'd rather watch a game of basketball or rugby union, or like handball or something.
But I mean, I guess you have to scale it down because if you, well, okay, so if I had to say you watch that at the level we playing, what would you rather watch?
What do you mean by the level we play?
Well, as in like, because we're not professional, obviously.
So like amateur.
Yeah. So yeah.
I enjoy watching my rugby union team play rugby more than a lot of games of Quidditch. But
Okay.
that isn't to say I don't enjoy Quidditch as a sport to watch.
Mhm.
Quidditch is definitely one of the ones I enjoy playing the most by a country mile. But yeah, it just depends really. It depends what mood you're in. Depends the quality of the game, really.
Okay. So if we were to have like right now, you get to move them all to basketball, would you do it?
Oh, we've made the Raptors rugby union team, and
All
it's
right.
quite. So I'd like to give that a bash at one point in my life just to see how good we.
Right. Do you reckon you'd be good?
I reckon we'd be a pretty decent team, to be
All
fair.
right. All right.
Which is all well and good saying that. I'm unsure how we'd fare against a team as amateur as us, but it'd be fun to play.
Okay. Right. Another question. Oh, interesting. Who's the best bad player and the worst good player in UK Quidditch?
The worst good player is obviously me, as many people like to point out. I'm not going to say the best bad player because that's just calling someone bad. And
Hey,
that
you
would be
call me bad. Call me bad. Why not? Do that.
bad. I think that would be quite a mean thing to do. So I'll just say that I'm the best bad player and the worst good one. So I'll say it's me.
To be fair, it is kind of confusing to me. Does it mean like you are the best? What, like the best, most hated player, or what does the question even mean? This...
I think that's like who's the worst really good player. So if you lined up all the really good players, who would be the worst one, and who's the best of all the really bad players?
Okay.
I'd never say on a stream that someone was actively bad. So I'll just have to say it's me.
All right. Fair. Hey, I'm not asking this question. Your chat is, and I. Right. There is a funny one that I really want to hear the story to. Are you ready? Do you already know what it is?
No, but there's about 100 stories it could be.
Ooh, that's making it interesting. So, can you tell a difference between a sheep, cow, and a badger?
Yes, right. So how this happened is this bit of a behind the curtain. So as a boy, growing up in the city, we didn't visit the country very often. And when I was climbing a mountain in Bangor as a wee 19, 20-year-old, I saw what I believe to be a cow up a mountain, but it was actually just a humongous sheep. But my scale of reference on how big farm animals were was really skewed because I'd never seen them in, like, up front. And it was a misty day, and, like, we were very deep. But Raptors absolutely adore that story because it feeds into the narrative that I'm a complete moron. But I can successfully now tell the difference between a cow and a sheep, thankfully, with the aids of my good friends at Bangor University.
Yeah, so, I mean, you say that, but why is there a badger in that question as well? What has happened?
There was a time when we were in, like, the Bangor minibus driving back, and someone's like, I hope we don't crash. And as a joke, I was like, yeah, I don't want to get mauled by a badger. And that was the conversation for the next 3 hours.
Oh, man.
Badgers.
Was that the peak of Quidditch for this, then?
That was as good as I ever got, man. That was as good as I ever got.
Nice. Would you go back to these days, or are you happy currently with the Quidditch stuff at least?
I love playing in Bangor. Genuinely, it was some of the most fun I had playing with people, but I'm pretty happy with Raptors now. I wouldn't want to go back to me being even worse than I am currently. So.
Ooh, Amit did suggest a slight retweak. So, to the question, about the worst, best player and stuff, he did say a bit nicer. So, who do you reckon is your favorite underrated player? I think that's a nicer thing. It's like who's someone who's like maybe not ignored, but maybe not talked about, but they are pretty good.
I assume we're going to rule out Team UK in its entirety.
Okay, how about this? You do someone in your circle, and then you do like someone else.
So I think I'll try and think of a mermaid. A mermaid would be Nat Wellham is quite underrated as a beta, I think. Because he's not world class now, people are like, well, he must be awful. But I think Nat Wellham doesn't get the respect as the beta that he deserves. I rate him, and he's a really kind bloke. He's a real good club man. I found really good for the team atmosphere and the team ethos.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I'd like for him to get a bit more respect put on his name.
Okay. And do you reckon you have like a player at Team UK that's like maybe not seen as much, or maybe not like heard from as much, but like they do a really good job?
It's straight like it's an obvious one. I think a lot of people don't appreciate how good Ben Malpass actually is as a player. Like, genuinely, there are times when he is the best player in the world and is unplayable, and I just don't feel like he gets the respect for that he should get. But the difference is Ben doesn't care about it either. But I do think a lot of people should appreciate just how good Ben actually is.
Okay. Slightly different question. I guess more about the fact that we're in quarantine still. Well, not really, but like someone asked, do you have a good chaser drill for someone to do during lockdown?
I mean, what I do is I have my target, and I'll try and make as many throws against that target as I can without missing. I'll do it from different angles, different positions, different types of throw, different angle of throw, and just sort of go from that, really.
Okay.
That's quite a good one. Like, it's simple and it's not the most thrilling, but it is a good drill to keep you where you need to be, I think.
Okay. I mean, fair. But what about for like a smaller scale? Like if you were stuck in a flat, let's say. Do you do anything
so
smaller?
Something that I do quite a lot, which is a really simple one, is when I'm laying in bed, I'll just chuck my quaffle up in the air and catch it with one hand, or I'll stand and flick the quaffle up with my wrist and try and like make a snatch grab on it, just to increase my wrist strength, and also just getting used to holding the ball and catching the ball with one hand. And I find that really useful. It helps your sort of like dexterity with the ball and also your familiarity with the ball, which is really useful.
Okay. I think we're gonna start wrapping it up soon because I'm missing some of the Chelsea stuff. So I think if in the chat you have a few last questions you want me to ask, please do. If you have any questions for me, mate, just give us some.
No, I'm interested. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some difficult ones you've not asked. So it's now the time. Are there any absolute cool?
Oh, I need to read because I did. We did mention, I guess, the super.
Are there any vendors? That's what I want to know.
Any what? Sorry.
Interview enders. Are there any questions that I'll just be so horrified by?
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't want to do them too hard because then people won't want to talk to me, because in the end, I'm not trying to grill you guys and then expose you to the, we're all friends. Like, I'm no better than you guys. I have my faults. I'm not gonna use this for my high horse and just shit on you because I have a YouTube channel,
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I do have something that I've asked before. So do you reckon that, I guess, the non-males are not underrepresented in teams, but like, do you reckon that's a problem that we're currently facing, or do you reckon like they don't have as many chances to take leadership roles?
Oh, 100%. I think a lot of that stems from like male club culture for sport. A lot of that stems from generating opportunities. A lot of that stems from like the world not being equal. But yeah, I think it is a shame that female and gender non-conforming players are forced into certain roles. That people sort of aren't respected just for their gender or their sex, and that's a real shame. I think hopefully with that times are changing. Like, we're seeing a lot more like female and gender non-conforming leaders, which is great.
Mhm.
But I think it's not just Quidditch; it's sport, but that doesn't make it okay in Quidditch. And I'm hoping with time, there'll be better
Yeah.
represent.
Yeah, because what's it called? The Queen's Cup was a great idea.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
was very.
I mean, shame. The only problem I have with it is the fact that it was during exam season, so like my girlfriend couldn't go, and I
Yeah,
guess that's a problem with uni stuff as well. Like a lot of the times, you're either in exams or you're in you're busy, and it's kind of hard to plan for that.
yeah. I think what's a real shame is most people that went to Queen's Cup said it was the best tournament they'd ever played.
Mm.
And it's maybe a part of the shame that we have to, fundamentally change our sport to allow half of the people that play it to enjoy it. But we've got those starting the women and gender non-conforming league, which I think would be really exciting and really beneficial for women and gender non-conforming players in the sport. And I hope that's going to help people out.
Yeah, good. Let's end this on the last one. So apparently you made a comment about the new 3 max gender rule. So people want you to elaborate on it a bit.
Oh, did I? That was probably ages ago. Yeah, so in Germany they've moved to a 3 max gender rule, and then 4 for snitch on pitch. I think that's really good. I think that would definitely be a way to allow for more equality on pitch and off it. It would mean that everyone had to play a sort of different role. It would also force teams to better and not rely on their male players as much. And I think, when people bring up the subbing, they're like, oh, but it might be harder to sub. I think the massive benefits of having a 3-3 gender rule far outweigh the negatives of subbing might be a little bit harder. So it's definitely something that I'd like to do. We played 3-3 at Steel City, and that was great. We really enjoyed that, and I do think it would be a way to help push the sport forward.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a good answer, mate. Apparently, last question, which I found funny, and I think it's a perfect way to end it. Are you ready for it?
I am.
So, how does it feel to be the property of the Queen?
It comes with a lot of responsibility. a bigger swan as I am. But I take everything in my stride, I'm pretty sure my tour shirt for this season is going to be the swan. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it.
Nice. Man, to be fair, some questions like that, I'm just like, what the hell is the backstory? But okay, now that you said the swan, I do get a bit more now. Oh, man. Right, so I think that concludes it. Did you enjoy?
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed the questions, mate. And it was good to tackle some of the more difficult topics, I think.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's much better in this kind of scenario because like we can actually talk and it's not like you answering in messages because sometimes, you don't have the time to write a, 50 paragraph essay,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this. And if you have any questions, like, I guess, ask Jay. He said he likes to answer things. And if you want, we can do a part 2 in like a few years if we're still alive.
Yeah, post in the comments of this video, message me directly. I really actually don't mind. Just go for it.
All right. Well, mate, thanks for coming. Shame I got to miss half of the football for it, but to be fair, it was fun.
Good stuff.
Right, mate. I hope it wasn't too hard.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it.
Okay, good. Well, I guess have a great evening. And I might make this into a video if I can. And if this doesn't save, well, then I guess people will never hear what you had to say. And I can just lie about it.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell that I'm going out to hurt people. That I've got a crowbar down my shorts in the middle of games and things like that.
All right, bud.